Different points of view and highs and lows. A new perspective everywhere you go. Open up your mind, drown out the noise, and see if this connected. And see if this connected.
What's up, fam? The mission of this Connected podcast is to connect generations and situations about faith, life, and whatever comes along the way. To not necessarily agree, but be listened to. These conversations, of course, highlight the perspective of our various guests, and you are always welcome to agree or even disagree. But as always, we hope that it is done in charity. Now, here's your host, catholic.dad.
There it is. How do we start this again?
Thank you for that intro, Tony.
Yeah, some more. You got your little button there.
Perfect.
That was easy.
What?
No, easy button.
Make a song.
Amen.
Amen.
Amen. Amen. Amen. Now in Spanish.
Amen.
Amen. Amen. Amen. Amen. Now it's Swahili.
And Japan.
Okay. You do Japanese, I'll do Swahili.
It's in Japan.
Amen. 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 Amen.
Welcome to this Connected podcast.
Well, that was fun, Tony.
It was, Arnell.
Yeah, thank you for that intro always.
You are welcome as always.
Yeah, and so we are in the... How many times have we changed this podcast studio?
We have not changed it.
We have not, but we did replace the table again. Now this goes up and down, but
Just like this podcast.
just like the podcast goes up and down. And as you've noticed, we have not been podcasting for the past month. We've not released an episode. We have not released an episode.
No, but we've missed you.
And I've missed you guys. Because I literally didn't see you guys for how many days?
A month, it felt like? I don't know.
Yeah. Well, that was a long time. It was like, yeah. I mean, we got together and then we quarantined. Yes, this is the quarantine episode. Well, this is the quarantine. This is the awkward quarantine episode. And guess what this is? This is our season 11, episode 130.
Yep, I knew that before we started recording.
Yeah, I didn't. It's either going to be 129 or 130 or 131. One of those. But it's definitely season 11.
But you would have known before we do.
Yes.
Because they're going to see the title. Yeah.
Pretty good. Yeah. So thanks again, guys, for coming over to the studio. We are just going to talk to you guys. We're going to have our conversation. Thank you guys again for supporting the podcast. Thank you for really following us. We really appreciate it. Again, if you are not subscribed to the podcast on our YouTube channel, please do so. You can also subscribe to our Apple podcast on Apple, on Spotify, on all the other podcast carriers. Also, if you are not one of our patrons on our Patreon account, do so. I think we have 11 patrons.
Nice.
Yeah.
Wow.
Thank you, guys.
We're moving on up.
Yeah, mention you guys. You guys are such great people. And you know what? When they're patrons, they get stickers, they get mugs. I think we even have one really huge patron. She even got a bag. Apparently, that's one of our merch that we give. I didn't know. I think I designed merch. And
how does she get it if you didn't know about it?
Well, after the third month, fam, you get your merch. So if you're a patron, they automatically send the merch through Patreon.
Oh.
Yeah, it's an automatic.
Cool.
That's how I got my cup.
Well, yeah.
Also, as a gift for anyone who wants to DM us, send us a message, send us a comment to @catholic.dad IEByte50@gmail.com, or just DM us on our Instagram account if you want one of our season 11 year 3 stickers. That's also a magnet that has this face and that face. It's a magnet. You can put it on a refrigerator. It could be your wake up every single morning. If you put it low and you have roaches and rats, then you can put it there to just scare them away. Pretty much.
Yeah, it doubles for
Doubles.
ant trap. Yeah.
Pretty much.
Roach.
So COVID quarantine. I mean, we went without 2 years without getting COVID.
Yeah, we were pretty much invincible. You know, we were saying that earlier that we're invincible, and this
but then
was
he got
just
married.
this was just a glitch in the matrix.
What are you trying to say? That marriage weakens a man?
And the immune system.
Self-esteem.
So Tony got married and then got COVID. I've been married and then got COVID. I was like, how do you explain that?
Exactly.
Yeah. I came in contact with Tony, so what? Someone infected someone.
We're not pointing fingers
We're not
here.
pointing fingers, but
but-
you know who you are.
Yeah. Someone here knows who was the culprit.
Yeah.
We're not going to point any fingers.
No.
But we know, and you know.
Mm-hmm.
You should be ashamed.
Ah, really now.
Yeah. Whoever that is.
Yep. But yeah, it was. How was your experience with COVID? I mean, who got it? Was it me first? You first? You?
No, it wasn't me first.
Was it you first?
It was me.
Ha.
Uh-huh.
Ha.
It was me.
Interesting.
It was fairly mild, just minor body aches, and I had a headache, but it was like, okay, I'm going to do my due diligence and quarantine, even though I feel okay. And then on my day 8, let me speak a little louder, sorry. On my day 8,
There it is.
Tony tested positive. So he quarantined with me. So I was like, okay, I'll quarantine for another 10 days.
Yeah, just for clarification, the day she was like, I can go out, we can go out now, and she can enjoy her summer 'cause she's on break, she
Yeah.
follows the school system, I test positive, so now our summer, her summer more, is all ruined.
Yeah. So
Thanks, COVID.
But you
Thanks.
know what? I thought it was beautiful though, because Tony doesn't get summers off. So we got to spend time together
Aw.
that we wouldn't have otherwise. So
And
That's
what?
scary.
I want to know, what did you guys do during that quarantine? Because you guys were like stuck in the house.
You know, there's this thing, it brings us to holiness, you know, being
Prayer?
blessed and be third. Yes, close to prayer, it's Netflix. Okay, Disney Plus 2.
yes.
And Fall Guys, okay, Fall Guys 2. Okay. I also got Lego Star Wars.
And our sleep schedule was so thrown off that at 1 o'clock in the morning we're playing Fall Guys and I'm just yelling at the TV. He's like, stop yelling, we live in an apartment.
And the crazy thing is, then she texts like, I can't sleep. And we have this group chat. And she'll post at 3 o'clock in the morning. Oh yeah, apparently I can't sleep either now.
And then I wake
Because
up.
now I'm awake.
Then I wake up like a normal person, and I check. There's like 1,000 messages on my phone. It's just these two. Like, why aren't you guys asleep?
I too had to quarantine. Yeah, I
Yes.
thought I was truly invincible. You know, I had a great gig at work. I had my own office. You know, 4 walls. Nobody could visit me. You know, even though I did EAP, nobody could visit me. Everything was, over the phone. And then I decided to change my job and work in a cubicle,
Your enclosure.
my enclosure. Yeah. And so I get sick.
What was the symptoms like?
Oh, you know what? It kicked my butt.
Yeah.
Could you taste?
I don't know. I think I gained weight because I couldn't.
Oh, you were just keep eating to say
just
like
kept
I
eating,
still
saying,
can't taste
"I
it.
still
Let me
can't
let me
taste it.
try
Let
if
me-
it's
yeah."
maybe it's better now.
I was really trying to see whether I was losing taste, but I don't know. It's like I don't think I really lost my taste or smell. Although Maria probably would say that, I'm just immune to the smell, because this was my quarantine room. They quarantined me in the podcast studio. They closed the door.
I feel COVID in here.
They would put food on a tray outside. They would all be masked, and I was stuck here, and there was a cot right there where you guys were sitting.
Yeah, I feel
and that's where I slept.
I feel the COVID.
On the cot, and then, they would knock on the door for me to get my food, and after a while, I really felt comfortable.
Yeah.
Because it was like, I had the TV, I had the Netflix,
Brings you closer to holiness, right?
Yeah. I had all my prayers and all my saints around, and that was it. You know what? The one thing that after a while, you start checking your sanity because you're locked up, and the whole family is like wearing masks.
Mm-hmm.
And what happened was I started posting dad jokes.
Oh no.
Yeah.
And how's that any different from when you're not on COVID?
I never posted it on Instagram, my dad jokes on Reels.
We shouldn't lie to one another.
No, that was my first dad joke. I was going to continue it and tell another one. And I said, you know what? We recently put a ring on our house because
you like it?
No, because our house was broken into.
Oh.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
The other day. Yeah. And that's why we put the ring in the house. And the thing was, you know what they stole? They stole my limbo stick.
How low can you go?
Exactly. How low can you go?
I think it's the third time you said this on
Pretty
the show.
much. I love that joke.
Yeah, apparently.
Yep.
That was easy.
That was easy. Yeah. So, yeah, after a while, it was like, what am I doing in this room?
You know what I discovered from it? And let me preface this. This gave me the mindset of you. Okay, wait.
Walk that back.
Wait. Okay, so I realized that I go insane if I don't have something to do, because you're just there and you just sit there and you're watching TV. It's like you can only watch so much TV, and you could only play so much Nintendo and PS4 for so long. And then I realized, I was like, wait, that's what Arnell does. He stays busy all the time because he must go crazy. So how was that for you? Because you must have been going crazy for not being able to do 1,000 different things.
I listened to a couple of books while sleeping.
That was anticlimactic. But...
Yeah. And then I looked out that window because I was laying down, just looking out the window.
You were
bird
watching?
Bird watching.
That's
looking
cute.
out the window.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of actually really anticlimactic stuff. I don't think I really did much.
Didn't you go crazy though? You always doing something.
I wanted to go out. I really wanted to go out. I was like, I really want to go out. I mean, that first Sunday, we went to mass, and I woke up that morning feeling off, and I was like, yeah, this just feels off. I feel warm, but I'm not feeling sick. We go to mass, and I'm like, we go inside the church, and I immediately start feeling sick. I'm starting to feel like I'm warm. I'm like, is this what it feels like when you're the devil and full of sin and you're burning because you put holy water on yourself? Just kidding. But this must be how a sinner feels inside church. No, I'm just kidding. But I chose not to sit by my family. I sat in the back. I stood in the back pretending like I was an usher, which I am. And I just stayed away from it. I didn't receive communion. It's like that whole thing. And then on the way home, says, I don't think I said, I don't feel well. So I got home. I took the test. I tested positive. Yeah. So you know what the first thing I did?
Figure out who to blame.
No, Maria did that. Maria, being a nurse, went and traced every single contact and who she did contact tracing, and she knows whose fault it was.
We know who it was too.
We know
who it was.
Yeah. But the first thing I did was I contacted Ryan Coleman, the guy who wrote that article on the Inland Empire catholic.dad, which we'll talk about a little bit later. But I contacted him because he was supposed to come over here and do that interview for us to be on the paper. And I was like, hey, I tested positive, and he was like, oh, thank you for calling me because I have not had COVID yet. And I was like, oh, good thing I called you. I was about ready to risk you. Because it was like, he was like an hour away.
Wow.
It was like 1 o'clock. Our appointment was at 2 o'clock, and I called him at 1 o'clock and said, hey, you can't come over. We're pretty much locked down. And that was that week. And the crazy thing is I was quarantined. Maria was being, she was upstairs in our room, and she's taking all the necessary precautions. On that Tuesday, she becomes positive. And so I was quarantined here, and she's quarantined over there. And I asked, well, since we both have COVID, can I just join you? Maria, being a nurse, she says, no. Because you have a different, my quarantine is at a different time. And so we were away from each other for more than 10 days. Yeah. And you know what sucked about that? That Thursday, which was July 14th, it was our wedding anniversary. Aww. Yeah. And we took vacation. So we were on vacation during our quarantine. Oh. So we're going to try and make it up in October. We're going to Hawaii.
Ooh, where?
Wait, really?
We have no idea.
Wait, seriously?
We're trying.
So how do you feel about that? You've repeated several times on the show that you didn't want to go to Hawaii.
I don't like Hawaii.
No?
I'm only going because my wife wants to go.
But the roosters.
The roosters? Mm-hmm. We have roosters in the Philippines. We have roosters in Bloomington.
Go to KFC. You'll see some roosters there.
The Marins have a rooster. So I just go over there in Rialto and visit Sam's parents and get the rooster. Yeah. I don't know. I was like... But we're planning on October. Don't tell her. It's a surprise. Although she has to plan it.
Surprise, we're going
Surprise,
to
honey. Here's the bank account. But yeah. So during that quarantine, we never did an episode of the podcast.
I had no energy. I had every symptom, I guess, that was on that list. Besides, I guess rash is one of them, right? And then my taste was a little off. Looking back, I feel like it's a little off still sometimes. Yeah. And then what was the other one that I didn't have? I think it was just that and that.
You had a shortness of breath, and that was
pretty much had everything else.
I still have shortness of breath.
Yeah. I think it's just because I'm not fit, but we could blame it on COVID.
Why are you looking at me?
What? Because we're talking?
You're like, I'm not fit, and then you directly just looks at me.
We're talking. This is a podcast.
I am
so triggered.
So triggered.
Oh, yeah?
He just...
I said that
He just projected that I was fat and out of shape.
I'm just being
Round is a shape.
Boy.
I had a fever of 102.5, 102.8. Yep.
I'm so sorry.
Put a mask on that girl.
It's the COVID. It's still seeped into the wall.
No, it cannot, because after, post-quarantine, Maria is crazy about sanitizing. So every time I walk out, she'd literally have that can of Lysol, and she was Lysoling the place. It's like every place, it was like Lysol. Mm-hmm. It's like, that's gonna literally take off the paint off all of the countertops. It's like, yeah. So after all of that, everything was Lysol, stacked, Lysol and says, "Don't Lysol the equipment. Replace the little tips off those mics."
Yeah. Everybody's getting it, though. It seems like every day I hear of somebody who has it. So it's very contagious.
COVID is the new black.
What the heck? It's
But
if you have any complaints, comments about that statement, please DM at Mini Tangled.
there we go.
So this is what happens post COVID. You know, we don't know what to talk about. But while we were quarantined, we did plan on talking about a couple of issues that rose during our quarantine period, and it was really important. I really wanted to talk about it. I know we had Father Alex scheduled to come on the podcast. We were quarantined, so he couldn't come over. So that's a miss. Hoping that Father Alex, we need to reschedule that podcast with you to come over. Open a window. We'll smoke some cigars because he has cigars. But a couple of things that came up. We are no longer. You are now the post-road generation. And I just want to talk about that a little bit, because how does it feel? Asking you guys, how does it feel to be a post-road generation? Because it is literally your generation that made this happen. I believe that it's your generation, with all the prayers, with all the protests, with all the activity that you guys have done, that caused this whole thing from happening. I know they say it's conservative judges on the bench that caused this, but you know what? That's a good thing, and I think that's directed by prayers. And so, how does it feel to be in a post-road generation? Has anything changed? Has things changed, or is it feels the same thing? And I want to ask this: do you remember the day that it happened and what you were doing?
Yes, I remember I was working at home because I had tested positive at that point. So I was up early and I read it on my phone that it had been overturned. And literally the first thing that popped into my mind was, Lord, help this nation. Because you know that there's going to be a massive outcry. Mm-hmm. And we, right now, on that day, it's like we just needed to pray more than ever. Because, of course, the division becomes worse. And go ahead.
I call it the rage. It's like there was such rage about the overturning. And at first, I really couldn't grasp why there was so much rage, because especially in California, where we're at, abortion didn't end.
Right, it doesn't really impact us.
It didn't impact us at all. In actuality, it kind of makes it with the government that we have, it made it more accessible. They're trying to make it more accessible.
Right.
And for me, I felt like, with some of the arguments on social media and some of the arguments in the news, it seemed like there was something that was missing from the argument from people who were very pro-choice. And it was a misunderstanding and a lack of understanding of the civics that runs our country. That it's not constitutional to kill and take a life. It's not. And so it puts it back that basically the Supreme Court puts it back to the people for you to decide and vote on it. And it still sickens me when I hear them, when I think about that. It's now our choice to decide whether we can terminate life. But that's how it should be. You know, in a country, in a free country, it shouldn't be a right to take a life. And those arguments sometimes just, I don't understand it. I just...
Yeah, I think one of the issues that I had with it is I know several states were so quick to ban abortion.
Mm-hmm.
I think my only issue is, so you make it more difficult for women to get an abortion. But what are we doing to help these families? And that's the issue that I have. We can't just do a blanket law. Like, no, you can't have one. And then it said, okay, well, you're saying they're supposed to have their child, but how are you helping them? And,
Exactly.
And that's my issue. Aside from the division that was caused and, having these... It's very difficult to have a very charitable discussion with someone who has the opposing viewpoint. I mean, I struggle with that, and sometimes I need to pray about it, but I tend to avoid those conversations with others. But that was my main point. It's like, okay, cool, you banned abortion. We're saving the unborn, but what are you doing to help them?
I truly believe that, as you said, what are we doing? And I believe on the other side, it is the only option that they want to provide is abortion. And that's it. It's my right, it's my body, it's my choice. Body autonomy. Yeah. But I do believe that we have more pregnancy resources out there that never gets any news. Then, hey, here's this option. It's always, here's the option of abortion. You don't go to the doctor and the doctor says, you know what? Here's a list of all the facilities that are 501c3. They're free, and they can provide you services. The option that usually you would get is, here's the number for these places that you can receive an abortion if you want to terminate this pregnancy. So in looking at that as solution, these states that immediately banned it, again, now it comes to the people. The monies that we receive from the federal government and from state should now be diverted to these programs that support life. Because they don't. If you know anything about these places that support and provide services, a lot of them are Christian-based. Christian-based organizations that provide these free services. And you can go on our bio for a link to one of these places that's in San Bernardino, right next to Planned Parenthood. Please do support them. Support them monetarily, support them with volunteer work, support them with the supplies that they need, which are, diapers, boys' clothing. For some reason, they get more girls' clothing than boys' clothing. And just visit them, call them, ask them, what is it that you need? And then bring it there. You'll be amazed at how much your donations will go, how much they make it stretch, because it's all volunteer run. So again, if we put our money to where it should go, then yes, these programs will rise and will come up. That's just my opinion as a pro-life man, as a pro-life father, as a pro-life son of a pro-life mother who had 9 children, who was impoverished, who raised us as people who are doing good things, we believe. And if my mother listened to those healthcare workers at the time that says you shouldn't have more, you already have enough kids. I'm the 9th. I wouldn't be here bugging you all. Right? Yeah. I'd be one of those that was terminated and put into a container of body, human waste. So
and more child care programs. programs.
More child care
Affordable
programs.
child care programs.
Yeah. We were so blessed that we had my children's grandparents who we had live with us. So we didn't struggle with childcare. I think there was one time where we put Lauren in childcare for 2 weeks. And we dropped her off. She cried. And I called in sick, I think, every single day.
Oh.
Because I was there watching. I should have just taken her home. But yeah. We never really used childcare. We never used babysitting.
You know what I learned? I can't remember what nation it was, but the expectation culturally is that the older generations take care of the younger ones. So that's why it's difficult to find, like, they don't have this abundance of childcare facilities like we do. It's because, no, the family takes care of the kids. And I thought that was interesting.
Yeah. You know, that's true, because I never thought of it that way. And, you know, in a lot of cultures, unlike the United States, where I believe in the United States, we're a throwaway culture. We're a selfish culture. And we throw away our seniors as much as we throw away our babies, our unborn babies. But I can speak with my culture in the Philippines. You know, when you have children, because I remember, as I was born there, I remember that my mother, when she had to go to work, she would just tell us, go to your tia's house and, you know, eat there. And we would just go there, and our grandparents would be watching us. And so there's always, even with my kids, you know, it was not a question that my children was not going to be watched by my grandparents. And it was one of those where I think culturally, they just move in. I know mine did. They just showed up and says, we're here because you have kids. And we're like, we can find babysitting. But then you know, people say, oh, you have multi-generation in your home. And I tell you, that was such a benefit, because my parents, my wife's grandmother, taught my kids so much more of my culture and compassion. So I'm just saying, if you have parents, I can't speak to everyone, but I had a blast with but there was trade-offs in that. There was something called privacy that you didn't have. Difficult things. Yeah.
Sorry.
So that's June 20th was that day, right? June
24th.
4th?
Yeah, the
Yeah.
feast day of St. John the Baptist.
Feast day of St. John the Baptist. June 24th was when Roe v. Wade. I remember that because someone asked me, so when do you think they're going to make the decision? And I said, you know what? The Supreme Court always makes their decisions on Tuesdays. It's always on Tuesdays, so it's not going to be on this day. And, like, I think you were the one who said to me, hey, they made a decision. I'm like, wait, it's Friday. Yeah, like, that was weird.
And it actually, now that I remember it, it actually coincided with the solemnity of the Sacred Heart of Jesus.
Isn't that crazy? And then all those Catholic Supreme Court justices. Just saying. Holy Spirit works in mysterious ways. Yeah. Go figure that Catholics would actually do something that is... I'm not saying that they did it because they're Catholics. I don't think we can say that. But I do believe that they just simply followed what is the truth. I think we went in a class today. We had Tony and I came from a catechetical class today. And one of the things I never got to respond to is what the instructor said that... and pointed to me and said, you know, he said that we should dialogue. And a lot of these issues, social justice issues, we need to dialogue. And I was trying to raise my hand, but I think we ran out of time because I wanted to say...
You wanted to dialogue.
I wanted to expand on the word dialogue. It's not just about dialogue. Because what I wanted to say was something that you said. It's, you know, it's good to dialogue, but dialogue based with an understanding of what truth is. So define what is true, then you can have dialogue. If you don't have a basis of what is true, then you're not really having dialogue. You're just doing what people do on social media, which is, yell at each other. And I did an experiment, if you didn't notice. I started commenting on posts on social media and try to see what kind of responses it would get. And the experiment was proven true, that the responses that you get based on where, which side you're posting on, if you don't agree with them, you will always get some of the meanest and crass and attacking comments. There is no dialogue in social media.
Right.
There isn't. It's just people throwing mud at each other. So that's what I was doing during quarantine. That was my form of entertainment. I need to stop. Because there were some hate comments.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So, was that all you guys did in COVID?
I mean, I mentioned quite a bit. I kept myself very busy.
I didn't. I watched a lot of TV.
Yeah, me too. That's busy.
Busy.
But I enjoyed that because I never watch television. And so I had an excuse not to go out. Like, sorry, you can't do it. I have COVID. And so, I was watching TV and I was we watched a Pixar, a lot of Pixar movies. And, I was, it was bringing tears to my eyes because I remember watching it as a little kid. And I was just feeling I was all up in my feels during COVID.
That was her symptom.
Tony's just giving her the look.
I know. Well, I told you. I said,
who did I marry?
Yeah. So I enjoyed that.
I did appreciate the slowdown.
Yeah.
Because we were moving and moving and moving. And some people said, hey, did you guys stop podcasting? We're like, no. It's like, you guys haven't released anything. I'm like, yeah, we have COVID. So that was one of those things is, how we were podcasting almost weekly. It was like, oh, we're gonna do another one and trying to figure out when to do it and our schedules. Not having to podcast at all was actually pretty relaxing.
Leisure is holy.
Yeah. It's almost like, do we want to go back?
And we're here.
And then we're here.
But you know what my favorite part was? There was a time where I had really bad body aches, but I was lying on the couch because since I tested positive first, I was like, I'll go sleep on the couch. It's okay, Tony.
That triggered me.
I know it did. I knew it would, at least.
I was like, wait, why is she on the couch?
But I was like, I'll go sleep on the couch. It's okay. But there was a time where I remember when St. Faustina was very ill. And there was, I read it in her diary. I wasn't there. But, and how she just allowed herself to be enveloped by Jesus's love. And she had total reliance on him. All through her life, but particularly in that moment when she was sick. And so I was like, okay, Lord, I'm just going to rest in your heart and you'll take care of it. I know you will.
She's so holy.
No.
She is so holy. It makes me sick.
No. It's just, yeah. I felt Jesus in that moment, I know we're not a religion of feelings. That's what differentiates us between other denominations. But when God is there, He gave us feelings for a reason.
You know what I really have to appreciate, and before I forget to say, is as a parent who have children, you're always raising and taking care of your children. And in the beginning, when my daughters got sick, we were like bringing them food. And my wife is really great about providing them, things. And there's food and there's prepared. But when we both got sick, when Lauren and then Dana, because Lauren went on her vacation trip, and then Dana was like the one who was preparing our meals, bringing us water, washing our, everything and providing it. And she was like doing all the work, and she's on her summer break. That was like, wow, that's why we created. That's why we didn't abort these two. No, just kidding. But it really made it really made me appreciate the gift of our children, that yeah, our children are going to be taking care of us just as much as we took care of them and are continuing to take care of them. Although the food was good, it was still such a really good feeling. So I want to thank my daughter Dana, and I want to thank my daughter Lauren for really taking care of my wife and I. And definitely I need to really thank my wife Maria, because my kids would have starved. I would say, just put on a mask and get your own food. But she was like boiling ginger for them and making them drink it, and forcing them to take their medication. I mean, Maria is like, she's like the best with forcing you to get better. That's Filipino mom love. It's like I don't want to take it. I was like, you need to take it. You're my husband. You need to survive. But yeah, I mean, that was one thing I really took away from it, was how much love I felt by being taken care of. Because I think that's hard for men who always are like, oh, I need to take care, I need to provide, and I need to be strong. And now you're bedridden, and you're like, I really don't want to get out of these pajamas that I've been in for the past 3 days. And they're like, Dad, go wash your clothes. Go change. Take a shower. I'm fine. It's like, and then the funny thing is, we had this thing. It's like, outside the door there was this tray, and once you're done, you just put your food back there, your plates, and then she like cleans up. I'm like, I was spoiled. I actually didn't want to come out of quarantine. I was like, this is good. I was like, I mean, the food could be better, but just kidding. Just kidding. Food was great. I think we ordered out most of the time.
Yeah. Do we do that? I don't even remember.
It's all a blur.
Yeah.
COVID fog.
Mm-hmm.
And you know what was so great too was our church community, our youth group family, because we were like out of COVID tests, and so like we put out the call and says, hey, anyone have any more COVID tests? And they were delivering it. I mean, they were like just throwing it at the door and come near the house. Just kidding. They would like leave it at the door, knock on the door, and says, it's there.
Oh, that's so cool.
That's nice.
So that's when you see you have your fam.
Mm-hmm.
Church fam. And now they all have COVID. Sorry.
Sharing is caring.
Sharing is caring. Yeah. So, and then during that time, we were getting interviewed because...
we both had COVID while we had our interviews.
Oh, yeah.
I didn't tell him either. I was just like, I'll pretend I'm fine right now, but I'm not.
Yeah, we were. Yeah, he was interviewing us, and we were both in quarantine.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, it was interesting.
But interview for what, Arnell?
Interview for the podcast. We got interviewed for the Inland Empire Catholic.dad, which is a newspaper for the Diocese of San Bernardino. Is that what it's called?
It sounded like you were just playing word babble, but
The IEByte, BYTE.
It's the thing that they stuff in your bulletins
Yeah.
every once in a while.
Yeah.
that's 10% maybe.
Yeah. So if you
If
like,
you're that 10%.
yeah, if you go to church, a Catholic church, at your church, in the back there's like these magazines that says IEByte, It's like the
You can actually learn a lot about our diocese if you read them.
if you
Read 'em.
pull one of those up, we're in it.
Mm-hmm.
Or you can go onto their website.
Yeah. I didn't know they did an online version of it.
I didn't either.
How'd you... you found it by literally just typing on Google SB Diocese Byte?
Yeah.
Yeah, so if you want a life hack, that's how you can find it. I don't know what the website is officially, but read it.
I think it's
Read it
In the
week.
Catholic Byte?
Is it every month? Read it monthly.
I think it's a monthly. It's
Yeah.
IC
Learn about the diocese.
ICBYTE.org. The Inland Catholic BYTE.
You can get a free subscription.
Free subscription.
Yeah.
Yeah. And you can read about the article that was written by Ryan Coleman about the podcast, about me and Tony, and it has our picture there.
And Carla from St. Oscar Romero.
And Carla from St. Oscar Romero. We want to please correct that. There was an error. Carla said she had mentioned the parish that she was from so many times. St. Mary's Catholic Church. Carla Ocio is from St. Mary's Catholic Church. Elena is from St. Oscar Romero.
Yes. Yes.
So they said some good things about us.
You know, it's so cool that they have the little a newspaper for updates like that. I didn't realize that was a thing until I started looking into it as I started becoming a staff member. I was like, oh wow, like we can find different updates locally. And now that's kind of like what we do. We update things locally.
We do. And you know what? The funny thing is we were called a ministry for the
Ears.
ears.
I really like that's a really good hook. Why didn't we think of that?
I don't know, but it's like now
That's
we're like
such a tagline.
ministry for the ears.
So creative. I love
So we're just saying that if you guys want to send us some ears to wear on the podcast,
Mickey ears for this one.
ears, yeah,
Oh, yes.
rabbit ears, you know,
Elf ears.
elf ears. Yeah.
Arnell ears. If you want to model, you take a picture of his ears and model it. I'll take some Arnell ears, some catholic.dad ears.
Did I send you guys a picture of
Of your ears?
my ears?
No. What?
That's Mr. T.
Was that quarantine?
Yeah, this is quarantine.
Oh,
That's
Trying
what
different-
happens when you're in quarantine.
filters.
Yeah, but these ears,
should I put it to the camera?
so you can send us those
are
ears.
the orejas. You
What,
know,
the what?
The desserts, the orejas. That's what those look like. Well, because orejas
yeah.
means ears.
That's true. That's true.
So if you'd like to send us orejas,
Yeah, we'll definitely eat them or wear them.
Have you ever seen those Halloween gummies that are like ears? Like severed ears? You guys see your face?
Disturbing.
They're really good. So if you want to send me those, I'll take them since these two don't want them.
We don't want them.
I'll take them.
So we were on the bite, and so if you want to read that, it's the July. What was the date yesterday? July 29th date that we were on. So check it out.
And thank you for putting us on.
Read a little bit. They lied about my age.
I love the description of you, though.
Mhm.
I thought it was very detailed.
Yeah,
and
that's really
I was
awesome.
a little embarrassed.
accurate. No, I
Yeah.
loved it. But that's your
Yeah.
appeal. You know, that's what makes you you. And I feel like that's what makes this podcast unique is that you're authentic, you're
He's blushing.
vulnerable, and
No, keep going.
and you know,
So
I-
humble.
There was one part here that just cracked me up because I was like, I'm triggered. Because he said something about, he just rants on into tangents. And
What? No,
Yeah.
he didn't.
I was like, no, that's not true. And then Maria says, that's exactly true.
How long was your interview with him? Was
Over an hour.
oh,
Yeah, I
wow.
bet.
How
Yeah.
long was yours?
30 minutes maybe.
Yeah,
You're very laconic, though.
What?
You don't talk a lot.
You know.
No. Or about Bruno.
Yeah. He said I gotta go. I have another appointment. I'm like, wait, I'm not done talking.
It's tough to get through my childhood. I have to tell you my stories.
That's true. That's true. Wait. That's true.
That's true.
Yeah,
Read an excerpt?
he even pointed out that our first episode was done on my cell phone with lavalier mics and the chopsticks.
I really respect that he did his research and he was looking through our episodes. Like, I really appreciate that, because he didn't have to.
Yeah.
Yeah, he didn't have to. He didn't have to write it about us at all. So thank you.
Thank you, Ryan.
Thank you, Ryan.
Thank you, Ryan. Thank you for
You're a real one.
your editor, Annalise.
Thank you as well.
And thank you, CatholicByte, for putting us on.
Yeah. And thank you for not rejecting that picture, that lovely picture of us, where it truly captures. I'm just looking at you strange, and you're just like, yeah,
that's what it is.
Yeah, that's that just came out of my mouth.
That's the podcast.
I like this one. This is an excerpt. The 54-year-old father
Wait, the 34-year-old father.
25.
of two is a deeply thoughtful and intentional man,
Aw.
no matter how jocular and easygoing he may come across.
Wait.
It is actually the simultaneous approachability of his nature and the rigor with which he conducts uncomfortable conversations and explores hot-button issues which has made this Connected podcast so popular, not just with the members of the Diocese of San Bernardino, but with Catholics across the country and around the world.
Oh.
That's so lovely.
Yeah, it's very.
All
Very
I got
nice.
from that was both playful and sincere, direct yet open to meandering tangents and trail-offs.
I mean, he's a good writer. Let's just say it like it is. Very accurate. Like,
Very descriptive. It's
Yeah.
beautiful.
That cracked me up. I'm like, all right, that's what everybody keeps saying. I'm like the Dory of podcasts. Like Dory. Oh, look, bird. Anyways, so that was ours on the bite. So go read it. Tell us what you thought. Send us an email, comment, whatever. Share it with other people. So
yes, share it around.
see how many hits we get on that. That, so Ryan can say, "Hey, you know what? A lot of people read his work."
That's right. Give him a thumbs up. I don't know if you can, but just be like, Ryan, you're such a good writer, especially at the part with the tangent thing.
Yeah,
That was such
I
a good
actually
line.
read some of his work, his blog.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's some super intelligent stuff. I'm like, oh, that's deep.
articulate.
Well, he's very observant
Yeah.
Very
because that
articulate.
means he was like observing you
Mhm.
during either the interview or during,
Mhm.
as he listened to the different episodes, but he wrote an analysis of you,
Yeah.
apparently.
And he
Yeah.
goes to St. Andrew's
Respect.
Catholic Church in Pasadena.
Okay.
And he's deciding to go somewhere else because there's too many of you people who have kids and you guys are noisy.
But that's beautiful.
Yeah, I think I was interviewing him as well. Come on the podcast, Ryan.
Open invitation.
Open invitation.
He will go on tangents.
Pretty much, just like right now.
Yeah.
So anyways, that's enough about us. Let's talk about Yam. Any
Yeah.
updates? You guys are,
Yeah.
yeah. The newest Yam, young adult ministry in the Diocese of San Bernardino.
Is that San Secondo in Ontario?
Mm-hmm.
Is it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
They started after us.
What is it?
It's
I don't
something in Latin. I'm
Oh.
so sorry, guys.
Missio Lucis.
Okay, see. Yeah, I didn't
Mission
want to butcher
Light.
that.
Mission and Light. Yeah, I
don't know.
I think I've seen that.
I don't know Latin.
if you want to learn the Latin rite, not the
Yeah.
Latin. We are the Latin rite. The
Tradition.
Tridentine, traditional Latin mass. Hit them up.
Yeah.
And really learn. It's Latin is the language of the church. San Secondo is the one parish that we have in the Diocese of San Bernardino that does offer the traditional Latin Mass, so go there. Also, if you want to interest in the Byzantine Mass, St. Nicholas in Fontana has the Byzantine Mass. That one's intense as well.
Nice.
But it's in English. So
I think Tony or Anthony Alarcon.
that's his last name. Sorry.
I think he's
the coordinator?
I think he's one of the facilitators, I believe.
Okay. So reach out. I think on Instagram it's I don't know, Tony Alarcon. Just look it up, or look up Missio Lucis. We're gonna put that on the podcast little thing. What do you call that? Little description. A link to Missio Lucis, if you're interested. But then the one right before that was your guys's.
The Surrender at St. Oscar Romero.
Surrender.
Yeah.
That was easy.
That was easy. Yeah, and you guys meet twice a month.
We do. We meet every first Thursday of the month for adoration and worship and fellowship. And then we usually have another event, which just so happens to, thus far it's landed on a Thursday, but it's like another event. You know, we try to have like social, theological, reflective nights.
Mm-hmm. And you guys have a huge challenge because you don't have a physical church yet.
Yeah.
And so that's like a huge challenge. So if you guys are in St. Oscar Romero, you guys better start building that church. Start upping the...
Our new parish administrator, he got ideas.
Yeah.
Who
I ain't
is-
gonna do no spoilers, but
Wait.
he got
who-
ideas.
Who is your new parish administrator?
Father Tomas.
Guillen.
Or
Guillen.
you could say Father Thomas, as he sometimes introduces himself as.
Wait, Father Thomas Guillen?
Guillen.
Guillen.
Isn't he like the youngest priest in the
He's
diocese?
the youngest administrator of our diocese.
Wow.
And he has a ton of ideas.
Oh, like...
What?
Oh, dude, that just brings out the vibes.
Yeah,
He
like
sends
good
off
vibes.
Really good vibes.
Does
he
he-
sends
Good
really good vibes. He
Really?
pushes out all bad vibes.
Mhm.
So he's been doing a lot of good vibes for Surrender.
Yeah. I think actually one of his favorite terms is vibes.
Yeah.
He loves it. I mean, he likes it when he gets DMs and comments on his Instagram at Father Tomas is the boss. He loves getting things that says vibes on it. Yeah.
Exactly.
So if any one of our viewers wants to send him good vibes, you just send vibes, just good vibes.
Good vibes.
In his
So
comments. He
say,
would
"Hey,
love
Father
it. He would dig
Tomas,
that.
That homily, just good vibes.
Good
all
vibes
around.
all around.
We just started Surrender. We need him on our side, guys.
Just as a correction, the word vibes is opposite
Good.
of what we said. But send it to him anyways. It's a running joke. So good vibes, Father Tomaski.
Yeah, good vibes, good vibes.
Yep. So
Yeah, so our next event is theology and tacos.
that's unique.
Yeah, so we're very excited. We're going to have a very lovely speaker come and talk about spiritual warfare.
Mm-hmm.
And so we're still working out the details. Do you want to hear something funny? I'm going to go on a tangent about that.
I do tangents, but go ahead.
That's his thing.
Sorry. But it's so funny because I've been praying about theology and tacos, and I was like, I have this person in mind.
As one would pray about theology and
Yeah.
tacos. Sorry.
Go on.
That's so funny.
If you ever wonder what's going through my mind.
It's a Bible with
Like
a
the
holding a
Bible.
taco.
Bible, Holy Spirit, tacos.
You know how you see those pictures and like Jesus is extending his hand? Well, he has a taco.
Yeah, I see it.
I can
I
see the
see.
Eucharist there. Those tortillas,
That's
round.
good vibes, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. The meat,
Yeah.
in carne. Carne.
Yeah.
Carnes.
Yeah.
see?
Yeah. Okay.
But
That was a huge tangent there.
It's been a long day. Continue.
But I had this person in mind, and I was like, Lord, what should the topic be? What aligns with his interests? So it's a man, obviously. But I was like praying. I was like, God, just reveal it to me. Just reveal it to me. And you know how sometimes we want this like grandiose like revelation, like, oh, you want the hallelujah chorus. Well, I was sitting at the dining room table, and Tony is literally just focused on playing video games.
Lego Star Wars, not sponsored, but if you want to sponsor us.
And I was like, Tony, what should the topic be? And he was just like, spiritual warfare. And I was like, spiritual warfare. Yeah. I'll email him and tell him that. And then so his response was, I'm passionate about spiritual warfare. And I was like, oh my goodness. Like, so I always think, God has a sense of humor. I'm like, see, like, look, it was just like Tony nonchalantly said spiritual warfare.
Didn't even have to look up. I was still locked in.
Because you were playing
Lego Star Wars. The complete saga.
Warfare.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. I'm excited.
Yeah, because Lego Star Wars is a battle between good and evil. So there's spiritual warfare there. Dark side and the light side. So.
And Darth Vader is, I am your father. Darth Vader.
I am.
Yeah.
I'm the great I am.
Mm.
Did you just compare Darth Vader to God?
Maybe we'll cut that out. No, but that's what Vader means. It's father.
Oh, God,
yeah,
I know. But dark father. That's what Darth Vader means.
Dark father. But he came out good.
He did.
Yeah.
He had a conversion.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
No, you guys are going to save yourself on that one.
Yeah. You know what my Snapchat, what is that? Wait. Name
Snapchat? Might as well just say MySpace.
Is it a handle?
My handle on Snapchat? It's Obi-Wanton.
Oh my gosh. I love that.
Obi-Wanton.
So, Ryan, tangents.
Yep. Tangents, Ryan. Yeah, it's true. We run into tangents. But
they start off tangential, is that the word? And then it just veers off.
We end up tangential. But anyways, we're gonna cut it off here because we're gonna go to dinner.
Yes.
Yeah,
hungry.
Yeah, we're hungry. We're gonna have food. But before we go, there's a couple of things. We're gonna try to do a series. We are gonna do a series. I just want to mention that in this what is this? 13th season? Oh. This 13th season, episode 131. Is it 11?
I don't know.
One of the seasons. Year 3. This is actually our 3rd year.
Wow.
We are, because we've always focused on youth ministry, young adult ministry. We're going to focus a series on marriage and family life. So we're going to bring about married couples of all ages. So a couple of people who are going to come on the show are from my parish, hopefully also from your parishes. But we're going to mention a couple of people. We're going to have Dan and Lydia. They were part of St. Mel's. Jamie and Gaston. From St. Francis Xavier. Mario and Paula, who are the directors of marriage and co-director of marriage and family life in the diocese. They're going to come on the show. Joel and Laura, and Paula and Herman are going to come on the show as well. So, and then there's the two of you who are going to end that series. Did I ask you guys yet? Well, I just asked you. So say yes. So that's going to be a series talking about marriage and family life. And then after that, we'll get into probably about September when school starts, and we're going to talk a little bit about generational trauma and things that affect youth and young adults.
September is our birthday month.
Mine too.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Our birthday month.
Yeah. We're Virgos.
No, I'm a Libra.
I'm Catholic.
We actually don't believe in the whole thing of that, but yeah. September 29th?
No, I'm the 6th.
September
What?
6th,
26th.
Libra?
26th.
26th.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I think, what are you, 22?
21.
21.
Anything after 22 is Libra.
Oh, see, I don't follow it, so I don't know the dates.
But
Yeah.
ask her feast days. She
Yeah,
knows the same feast
literally,
days.
when you said the 29th, I was like, no, I wasn't born on the feast days of the archangels.
I literally have to Google that. Fact check. All right. So that's what we're gonna do. That's the coming up episodes. But if you guys have any ideas and episodes or people that you want us to talk about, or discuss things with or connect with, come send us a DM, send us an email, send us a comment, and we will make every effort to bring those people on the show to connect generations and situations. So on that note, do you guys have anything else left? Do you want to say? Anything you have to promote?
Follow, subscribe to Tony Pimentel. Still
That's right.
pumping out of the Polo Show. We've got
Dude.
2 more episodes.
I forgot about that. Straight out of the Polo.
Out of the Polo.
Out of the Polo Show
Out
on
of the Polo
YouTube.
Show.
Check it out. These are really short episodes.
Very minimum tangents.
Minim-
Practically no tangents, actually.
You know what? One of the things I really like about your channel are those things that I show my students in confirmation,
Bite
which
size.
are the bite size. Is that what you call them?
No.
And then
No, but
bite size?
They're- You're talking about the 2-minute.
Yeah, the 2-minute ones.
2-minute answers.
Yeah, because those are the ones you could really show if you're a catechist out there. These are things that you could show and be part and put into your program that you can show them. Also, the one thing that I always like to do is I like to send them to my confirmands. Because one of the things, if you are listening to this and you're a catechist, when you send them these things, guess what keeps popping up in their YouTube channel?
Right.
Yeah.
Changes the algorithm.
Yeah.
It also starts a conversation because obviously 2 minutes not enough to answer fully, but it'll hopefully be like, oh, I want to learn more about it. That stirred the pot of wanting to learn more about that topic.
That's right.
What I like about it, though, and I'm not partial at all.
Not at all.
And I love how clear and concise you are when you make those videos, and very just compassionate and charitable.
Thank you.
So,
Too kind.
10 out of 10 recommend, guys.
That's right. I give it a 12.
Oh.
Yeah. Well, you notice we don't take compliments. Well, we're like, oh,
No,
okay.
no, we're Catholic.
We're Catholic.
If you say thank you, or that supposedly equals that we're not humble. So
Yeah.
we have to like
Yeah, bury our pride.
yeah.
Yeah. Sorry.
All glory to God.
Oh, glory to God. It's like,
Praise God.
you did really good, Tony.
God did. Holy Spirit.
I'm sorry. I'm not trying to take that away from you, Lord. Amen.
Let's close it off, guys.
Let's close it off. So on that note, I am Arnell.
I am the Polo Wearing Youth Minister.
I'm Bethany.
And this is This Connected Podcast. Thank you for joining us again for this episode. Make sure that you subscribe to the episode on our YouTube channel, both our YouTube channels. Subscribe to us on our Apple, whatever. And if you have any comments, complaints, concerns, send it to us at catholic.dad50@gmail.com. And if you would like to subscribe and be a patron and support this podcast monetarily for as little as $1, come join us on our Patreon at Patreon something.
.com/thisconnected.
That's what he said. Just check it out. Be a sponsor. We have 11. Woo woo. We'd like 12. And on that note, as always, we say at the end, live a life of holiness. We'll be praying for you. Please pray for us. Be blessed and be third.
Different points of view and highs and lows, a new perspective everywhere you go. Open
Open up your mind and drown out the noise of different generations of new girls and boys. So sit back and relax, this Catholic podcast. Don't overreact if the thoughts are abstract. When it's hosted by catholic.dad, who knows what's gonna happen?
Hey, what's up, fam?
Different points of view and highs and lows. A new perspective everywhere you go. Open up your mind and drown out the noise and see if this connected.
What's up, fam? To connect generations and situations about faith, life, and whatever comes along the way.
Expect runaway thoughts like a runaway train. Break into conversation like links of a chain. Make a Hail Mary pass, hope this connects. Have a question for a guest, put it to rest. Live a life of holiness, lead by example. Follow at catholic.dad and mini tangled. Christ leads our way, he's the good shepherd. Pray for one another, be blessed and be there. Different points of view and highs and lows. A new perspective everywhere you go. Open up your mind and drown out the noise and see if this connected.
That was easy.
Did I press record?
No, I'm not falling for that one.
We had an hour and 8 minutes.